Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Faye D'Souza. Thank you for joining us. Remember, this is where we give you the news without any sort of drama or opinion. Let's get straight to our headlines. India's total fertility rate, or the average number of times a woman gives birth in her lifetime, has declined from 2.2 to just 2. This is according to data from the National Family Health Survey 5. Now, the contraceptive prevalence rate, which is the number or the percentage of women who use contraceptives, have gone up from 54% to 67%. This is good news. The survey shows the fertility rate at 1.6% in urban India and 2.1% in rural India. Now, a fertility rate of 2.1% or less is called low replacement by the United Nations, which means that the population is not reproducing enough to replace itself. So the next generation will be smaller than this generation, which for a country like India is a good thing. In other news, the central government today told the Supreme Court that it will revisit its criteria for the economic weaker sections of society reservation under NEET for the PG courses. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, who represents the Government of India in court, said that the counselling for NEET PG will be put off by 4 weeks, which is how long the government will take to set up a committee to look at the criteria for EWS. The top court is currently hearing a batch of petitions filed by students, and they are appealing against a reservation that is currently been put in for NEET PG, which is 27% for OBC and 10% for EWS category. The News Broadcasting Digital Standards Authority, which is a governing body of television channels, has rapped on the knuckles several television channels, including Zee News, News Nation, Times Now, ABP Maaza, among others, for violating the Code of Ethics and Guidelines. It's pulled up specifically News Nation for a debate called Conversion Jihad, Zee News for describing the Constitutional Conduct Group, or the CCG, who are all former civil servants, as cunning and as a gang. It has also asked Zee News to take down a video in which they call protesting farmers Khalistanis. Times Now has been asked to take down 2 videos dated February 2020 on the Delhi riots, in which the channel's anchors did not conduct debates in an impartial and objective manner. Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for the Noida International Airport in Jewar and Gautam Budh Nagar in Uttar Pradesh. Now, Noida International Airport will be the second airport in the NCR region after Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport. The airport will be developed in 4 phases dating up to 2040, but its first phase is likely to be ready by September 2024. The airport will have 1 runway, 1 terminal building with a capacity of 1.2 crore passengers a year. Till 2040, it will be able to handle about 7 crore passengers. Former Mumbai Police Commissioner Param Bir Singh on Thursday morning appeared before the crime branch of the Mumbai Police, which is currently investigating an extortion case against him. Remember, he was missing until this morning. The IPS officer, who was earlier declared a proclaimed offender and an absconder by a Mumbai court, has been missing since October. Mr. Singh said he was in Chandigarh. According to the Indian Express, Param Bir Singh told reporters, and I quote, "I will join the investigation as directed by the court." This comes after notices were posted outside his home and printed in newspapers, directing him to appear before the investigating officer in 30 days. Earlier this week, Param Bir Singh was granted protection from arrest by the Supreme Court after his lawyer informed the court that he's very much in India, and he's worried about the actions that will be taken against him by the state of Maharashtra. Remember, Singh was posted as Director General Home Guards after he was removed as Mumbai Police Chief in March following the Ambani terror case and the allegations of corruption raised against him by former Home Minister of the state, Anil Deshmukh, who happens to also be in jail at this point. In May, Singh went on medical leave and did not report to duty again after that. Currently, there are 5 cases of extortion pending against him. There is the Anti-Corruption Bureau, which has also started 2 open inquiries against him, and 3 non-bailable warrants that have been issued by the court. Taking a look at our COVID numbers, India has reported 9,119 new COVID cases and 396 deaths in the last 24 hours. These numbers stay below 10,000, but we should continue to keep an eye on them given whatever is happening in the rest of the world right now. In Karnataka, though, 66 students tested positive for COVID in Karnataka's SDM College of Medical Sciences. All of these students, thankfully, are fully vaccinated. According to health officials, it's suspected that the students got infected after they attended a recent college event. Maharashtra has announced that it will reopen schools from classes 1 to 7 beginning the 1st of December. State Education Minister Varsha Gaikwad tweeted today, and I quote, saying, "After discussing with Chief Minister, the Cabinet and the Pediatric Task Force, the State Cabinet has decided to reopen schools from standard 1st to 4th in rural areas and 1st to 7th in urban areas from the 1st of December." End quote. Taking a look now at news coming in from across the world. Sweden's first female Prime Minister, Magdalena Andersson, resigned on day one, just hours after she became Prime Minister. Ms. Anderson was announced as the leader on Wednesday, but resigned after her coalition partner quit the government and her budget failed to pass. According to BBC, she said she would hope to try and become Prime Minister again as a single-party government leader. Anderson's appointment as Prime Minister marked a milestone for Sweden, which is the only Nordic country so far to have never been led by a woman. According to AFP, and this is serious, scientists in South Africa have detected a new COVID variant. This one is called B11529. According to the National Institute of Communicable Diseases in South Africa, it has detected 22 cases of this new variant. South Africa's health minister has said the variant is of serious concern. And behind an exponential, and this is the variant behind the exponential increase in reported cases recently. This comes after the country reported 1,200 COVID cases on Wednesday alone, compared to the 100 cases it was reporting per day last month. Remember, South Africa had also detected the beta variant last year. Australia has introduced what it calls a religious discrimination bill, which will allow Catholic schools the right to fire or expel teachers and gay students in the name of religious ethos. The bill is aimed to protect the rights of religious people from the cancel culture. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said if the bill is passed, it will ensure protection of the rights of religious people and organizations like churches to express belief. He went on to say that the bill is aimed to protect people's statements of belief as long as it is not harassment, vilification, and intimidation of anyone. It will also allow faith-based organizations to prioritize hiring and enrollment of people of their own faith and belief. So, a Catholic organization, for example, that doesn't support LGBTQI rights could choose not to hire someone of that community if this bill is actually passed. It has come under rightful criticism from various groups, specifically human rights organizations and LGBTQI activists who've criticized this bill and called it deeply not balanced. According to critics, the bill authorized people to express derogatory and harmful comments in the workplace, school, and in health settings. The bill is expected to be reviewed before it is voted on in the upper house of the Senate next year. Australia is also set to hold elections in May next year. That is a deeply worrying piece of information. Taking a look at news coming in from the world of science right now. NASA has launched the world's first mission to test asteroid deflection technology called the DART spacecraft. Now, it's carried aboard SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. The target of this spacecraft is a small moonlet called Dimorphos, which is about 160 meters in diameter. The spacecraft, which is now hurtling through space, will collide with this asteroid at a speed of 24,000 kilometers an hour. The collision is expected to take place between September 26th and October 1st next year. Now, this particular moonlet doesn't pose any sort of risk to the Earth at all. It's a mission to just test out this new technology and see if it works. And a piece of positive news before we leave you for today. Steve Varze from London will be the first person to get a completely 3D printed prosthetic eye. Till now, prosthetic eyes were molded in acrylic and painted by hand to match the patient's eye color. This is a 3D printed eye, which apparently happens much faster and will allow, it has technology that can print 150 eyes per hour. According to experts, it is the potential for a fully digital prosthetic eye could be a game changer for those who are struggling with their vision right now. That brings us to the end of Just the News. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to take a look at our YouTube page where we put up conversations with experts explaining in detail various developments in the news. Subscribe to our channel, like the videos. It encourages us to do more and do better for you. Thank you for watching. Good night.